Hi, so I'm here today with Kim Lincoln, and Kim and I worked together on a email marketing campaign for her course. And so, Kim, would you like to introduce yourself and say a little bit more about your work?
Yeah, I'm Kim Lincoln, and I founded the school, Terrain of Essence. And this is really a course that teaches us to navigate the landscape of our soul. So in this work, we're working with all three centers, the mental, emotional, and instinctual. Uh, and when that synergistic balance comes, we come right into our soul space. And so I work with different essences, which are the different virtues.
Yeah, I love it. I love your work because, well, I have an insider's view into what you do. You've had a very extensive, your whole life really working with all of these different modalities, and you're essentially someone who you've trained trainers how to do this work as well as individuals to guide them through. And the project that we worked on was so you came to me, you were doing a lot of one-on-one work and you were wanting to transition into doing more of a group experience for people that was scalable and that could free up time for you. And so tell me a little bit about where, like when you came to me and you were wanting your copy written, like how was that for you? Where were you at?
Um, I think the big thing for me, so I've been teaching groups, but I'm looking now to just take my entire practice online and to have the groups. So most people come word of mouth. So it's how do I reach the people that don't know me? And do I focus on the problem or the solution? And so bringing that to the table, you were stellar. The questions you asked and all of um, the interview process, the forms I filled out. Um,
Yeah, the messaging work that we did.
yeah, that was fantastic because it also helped me to look at my business in a little different way.
Mm.
You know, now I'm in the business of the business, and it just always has been a calling and a beyond a calling, really. It's just, it's the choiceless choice. This is what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you really, your questions were so clear. And then they gave me a lot of self-reflection.
Mm.
So I appreciated the depth and consciousness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so welcome. I'm glad that you got a lot out of it. And, you're not, I know that you came to me and you said that you weren't really a marketer, you're a healer, but you also have this longstanding business and we're wanting help to take the work that you do and bring it to people in a way that they could receive it. You mentioned that a lot of times people who are in this stuck place that they've tried all of these different things and haven't been successful finding the thing that really allows them to feel free and in touch with their true self, that they don't really want to be sold to.
Yeah. Very sensitive edge. Um, because we're working with people's deepest vulnerability and nobody wants to be sold or bought. We're dealing with a lot of deep unconscious patterning. And so it, it's a delicate place um, to have the trust of somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'll just share. So there's some spiritual and mind body teachers that have great copy and people go for it. And then they'll come back to me and say, wow, I just spent $5,000 for a course. And it didn't deliver what I get in just a session with you. Like you show me how through a different experience, a different way of coming. In other words, the one size fits all model doesn't work. And so what I loved about your copy is we were really um, drawing out what is the wording that will reach people on a more personal level that has their trust.
Yes. Yeah, that was a really important part of our work together was writing copy that was really building trust. Even though you have already built a lot of trust with your community and your audience over the years, you've done a lot of that work, but you couldn't just have somebody come in with some hyped up marketing speak. We really had to capture your voice, and you
Mhm.
have the ways to do that. Like you had your books and different things that you'd written in our conversations that I could draw on, which was wonderful. And then we were able to really make it sound like you and use your personal stories. Um, and I think it was really successful. So
Yeah.
can you tell me anything about the success that you had after launching this program for the first time in its current incarnation?
Yeah, well, it brought in a new audience for me, and then which was fantastic because that really was my goal, and so that was fulfilled. And then thank you.
Um, my
Yeah, and the other part was I just got a lot of response from current and past students and clients that um, they were really wowed by the messaging and the copywriting. They're like, "Wow, this is well said." Comments I kept getting were well said, and then I'd say, "Well, actually, Geo."
Well, what I love about that is, you had the core group of people who joined your course, and I think I remember like you had a bunch of people right away sign up for it, and even
Mhm.
some people did a payment plan and some people did a pay in full, and then you were able to fill your course,
Yeah.
and you're just wrapping up now with this particular cohort. You're going to launch again and this year with a new group of people, and you'll be able to reuse some of that copy. We talked about adding in some
Mhm.
testimonials from the first group that went through it. But my question, what I was going to say is that you have the people who joined your course, but then you also have people who got these emails that were selling the course, but they were also nurtured. It's like they had value in them, and so people got a lot. People even who didn't necessarily purchase this round were listening and were paying attention to what you were saying, and it really fostered that connection. Do you feel like that's true?
Absolutely. I did get a lot of responses that shared not right for me right now, and it was primarily time commitments or finances. And they said, "Well, put me on the list for the future." So yeah,
Good.
I have a list going.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we were able to, create copy together that really was emotionally resonant, that's always my goal because, it's like, yes, you want to fill the program, which you absolutely did, but you don't want to do it at the expense of the long-term vision of your business and your audience that you've worked so hard to nurture over the years.
Right. So you did a great job of um, sounding like I was speaking. And it was my material, but the way that you wrote it all just flowed so naturally.
Oh, thank you.
So,
So happy to help with your really important work that you're doing. Like really, I remember you had a testimonial of someone who was 80 years old and And he said something like he'd been trying for years and then he had a session with you and it totally transformed his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and just will you say a little bit about some of the transformations that have been possible for your clients who were able to read the copy and sign up and then work with you over the last few months? Like what has the transformation for them been?
Quite a lot. As a matter of fact, I'll be creating a book from it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
because throughout the course, the comments have been so powerful. And what people, there's something about this 3-month and weekly, and I'm mentoring um, once a week with people as they go through their worksheets and the online program. So this is a complete first for me. I've not done a course like that. Usually they're weekends or it's a 3-year in person or just a weekend workshop or privates. So it was a whole different model for me. And I think I discovered my um, preferred way of working. But what happened with people who have been with me a long time and new people is they touched into places they hadn't touched before. And the whole course, it's the metaphor are jewels, are gemstones, and we're faceting consciousness. And so all of the exercises we're working with edges. And that was a real how for people. But what drew them in was the copy of um, as people were reading the copy and it built day after day, there was an excitement that started building along with that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so it really was like it wasn't just a sales campaign, it was like a brand awareness
Yeah.
campaign and reconnecting with your list and showing them love by sending them these really heartfelt emails that were
Yeah.
really they had such a caring vibe. That's one of the things I loved about writing them was the caring vibe that
Mhm.
we were able
Yeah.
to transmit through them. So it was really fun to write and to work with you on this.
Yeah. I had a few people say, um, I just wanted to see what was going to happen here because after the second one, I had a feeling there was more. And they just let the excitement build in them. And the last one, they say, I am in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, even though we use some copywriting techniques, like, and it's not just for the sake of copywriting. I mean, there really was, because the course was live, we had a start and an end date. But, that is also, it's like that's a very common copywriting technique is creating a deadline for people. Like that really gets people to act. But it sounds like there was still a bunch of people signing up even before the end because they were just so on board with the message and
Mhm.
the copy and what
Oh,
you're offering.
from the first email.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, yeah, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Well, you are so easy to work with. This is like that long lost girlfriend, you know. It's just an intimate process. It's a real process. Your questions are brilliant.
Mm.
The way that your mind works is just, it was so helpful. Just
Oh,
really clear and succinct and not a lot of, banter.
thank
You're
you.
just like this pristine, you bring a point and you step back waiting for the repercussion. And then you're right there to gather it all in.
Thank
So I just loved the way that you worked. Yeah.
you so much, Kim. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I'm so glad. It's
Yeah.
a pleasure.
And I've shared that with a lot of people, and they go, "Oh, Geo, I mean, she used to live here. I mean, really? Wow, that's amazing."
Yeah, I know. We lived in Olympia for years, although our paths never crossed while we were there. But,
Right.
I'm glad that they did later on. Funny how that works.
Oh my gosh. And I had no idea you had lived here.
Yeah, yeah, we
Tech.
connected
Yeah.
through Facebook, I think. Yeah.
You had written a comment in Facebook through somebody else's post. And I went, who is that? Like, she communicates so clearly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I started following you, and you had a little blurb about your work, and I contacted you. That was like, okay, this is the person.
Oh, well, I know how much your program and your work means to you and to all the people who get to work with you. And so it really is my honor to help you in your goals and your mission, your beautiful mission. So the pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt fully supported.
Good. Oh, I'm so, so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So glad. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kim. I love that we were able to get together today, and it's so wonderful to see you. And I look forward to hearing more about your continued success with your group program and having time to write your book and everything that's exciting that's coming up ahead.
Thank you. And thank you for holding my hand into an area that is like totally new.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good first experience with a
Yeah.
copywriter. I definitely hear other stories sometimes. So.
I had, which was why I hesitated
Oh,
so
that's right.
long.
With a copywriter before. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were able to have a good experience.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great speaking with you.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.